Nobody could believe it. The young girl who would one day become one of the world's most famous singers was, at that time, disappearing under the weight of her own body. And the most painful part, nobody knew. In a small neighborhood in Barbados, young Riha stood in front of the mirror, unable to hold back her tears. Her weight was double that of her peers. On the street, she could hear children whispering and even mocking laughter. At school, she tried to appear strong, but at night, when she was alone, she fought with herself. But the most shocking part was, with that body, she was about to lose not just her weight, but her dreams too. Riha's biggest dream was to sing. She would spend hours in her room, singing songs that enchanted the neighbors. But whenever she looked in the mirror, the same words came out of her mouth. "I will never step on stage." Her mother tried to support her, but doctors kept warning. "Your heart is under too much pressure. If this continues, you could be at serious risk at a very young age." One day, while returning from school, she couldn't climb the stairs and collapsed. Her friends rushed to help, but for Riha, that was a turning point. That night, with her mother, she watched TV and saw a famous doctor in Houston. And she heard the words that would change her life. "I can change the life of anyone who follows the rules." When that day came, Riha's heart was pounding. Because the person she was about to meet was the only one who could guide her in the toughest battle of her life. The door of the Houston clinic opened and Dr. Now walked out. His serious, determined look frightened young Riha, but at the same time, it felt like a light of hope for her fear. "Riha," said Dr. Now, "your voice may be strong, but your body cannot carry you. If you want fame and your dreams, you must win this fight first." Riha lowered her head. For the first time in years, someone had forced her to confront herself so openly. But the hardest part began when she heard Dr. Now's rules. Looking at the file, Dr. Now continued, "We only have 1 month. If you don't lose enough weight during this time, I can't risk the surgery. Every day you will follow your diet. You will exercise. Your fame won't help you here." Riha couldn't hold back her tears. "Can I really do this?" she whispered. Dr. Now replied in a firm but compassionate tone. "I will guide you, but walking the path is your job." The first days were hell. Hunger crises, the temptation of old habits, and loneliness. Every night she tried to suppress her pain by singing. But more than her stomach, it was her mind she was fighting with. A week later, when she stepped on the scale, the nurses looked at each other. Riha held her breath. Dr. Now approached and frowned. "At this rate, forget the surgery." The number on the scale stabbed Riha's heart like a knife, because her only hope of reaching her greatest dream was fading. The result was below expectation. Dr. Now spoke in a stern voice. "Riha, if you keep going like this, forget the surgery. You're hurting yourself." The young girl lowered her head, tears streaming down her face. That night, alone in her small Houston room, she remembered her mother's words from childhood. "Your voice will change the world." But she whispered to herself, "I can't even change myself." But the real breaking point came at dawn. Overcome by a hunger crisis, Riha tried to secretly eat junk food. Just then, there was a knock at the door. Standing there was Dr. Now. His stern gaze froze her in place. "Riha," he said firmly, "you either win this battle now, or you lose it forever. The choice is yours." The silence in the room was deafening. Riha reached toward the trash bin and threw the food away. But she was left in tears. "I want fame, I want to sing my songs, but this battle is killing me." Dr. Now stepped closer and said calmly but firmly, "Sometimes the strongest people are the ones who cry the most. But remember, I am with you." Riha lifted her head. There was both fear and determination in her eyes. "All right, doctor," she said. "I will win this battle." But no one knew yet. The real test was only beginning. The moment everyone held their breath, Riha was entering the hardest journey of her life. What would happen in that operating room would change not only her fate but the team's as well. In the early morning, the Houston clinic was unusually quiet. Riha lay trembling on the stretcher. Years of hidden pain were now facing destiny on the table. Before surgery, Dr. Now turned to his team and spoke clearly. "This will be one of our riskiest operations. Every second, we must be careful." Riha opened her eyes one last time and whispered, "I will sing again, no matter what." And her eyelids slowly closed. But the real shock would come in the middle of the surgery. The first cuts went smoothly, but soon, the monitors began to alarm. Beep, faster and faster. A nurse shouted in panic. "Doctor, oxygen levels are dropping." Sweat dripped from Dr. Now's forehead. He raised his hands and said firmly, "Focus. We can't lose her." Minutes felt like hours. When Dr. Now cut a little deeper, he faced an unexpected complication. The damage between the organs was far worse than he had imagined. The team's eyes turned to him in fear. One nurse whispered, "Doctor, continuing is too dangerous." Dr. Now took a deep breath. No, we can't stop now. It's now, or never. At that moment, the monitor went completely silent. The beeping stopped, and the room filled with silence. Everyone's eyes turned to Dr. Now. Did we just lose Riha? Just when everything seemed over. Dr. Now's final move became the beginning of a miracle. When the monitor went silent, everyone froze. Time seemed to stop. The nurses couldn't hold back their tears. Dr. Now closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and whispered to himself, "No, this story won't end here." He continued the intervention with his hands. 1, 2, 3 seconds passed. And suddenly, beep, the monitor came back to life. The room erupted in cheers of relief. But this was only the beginning. The real miracle would come months later, on stage. Riha left intensive care. For weeks, she clung tightly to her diet and rehabilitation. Dr. Now's words echoed in her ears. "You are not just a singer, you are a fighter." Months passed. Her body grew lighter, her heart stronger, her breath freer. But most importantly, her belief returned. 1 year later, a grand concert was organized in Barbados. When the stage lights turned on, Riha took the microphone. Everyone who saw her was shocked. She was a completely different person. With tears streaming down her face, she said to the audience, "I am back, because I never gave up." When the song began, millions joined in applause. And at the very back of the stage, among the crowd, a man smiled quietly. Dr. Now. He only whispered to himself, "Every battle can turn into a miracle, as long as you don't give up."